Hi, welcome back to My Mom Life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jordan, and today we're making an apple cider loaf cake. Here are the ingredients that we need to make this apple cider loaf cake. I have cinnamon and nutmeg, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, 1 stick of butter that we are going to melt, some brown sugar, flour, sour cream, eggs, apple cider, vanilla, and cornstarch. The first thing that we need to do is reduce down our apple cider. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out 1 cup of apple cider, and then we are going to boil this on the stove until it is about half. So we want a half a cup of apple cider at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this on the stove and let it boil and simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes until it has reduced by half. So I have had this going on the stove for about 10 minutes and it looks like it has reduced by half. So I'm going to go ahead and pour it back into my measuring cup and see what we're at. We need to be at about half a cup instead of 1 cup. So I'm going to measure that and see what we're looking like. Okay, I am right at about half a cup. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and now we are going to add our eggs and brown sugar to a bowl and whisk that until it is combined. We need 2 eggs. And then we need 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. I'm just gonna whisk this until it's combined, and then we will move on to the next step. Now we want to add in our 1 stick of melted butter. All right, I'm gonna set this over here and get my apple cider back. Now, the directions for the recipe says to add our sour cream and vanilla directly to the apple cider. So we're gonna do that. I need half a cup of sour cream. I'm just gonna use this 1/4 cup measuring. A little more, but that's okay. And then I'm going to add in a splash of vanilla, or a teaspoon if you want to measure. And then I'm just going to combine, I'm gonna make a big old mess. I'm just gonna try and combine this without making a giant mess. Probably better to use our whisk here. Still making a mess. Okay. So I have my sour cream, vanilla, and apple cider here. We have our eggs and butter and brown sugar. Now we're going to measure out our dry ingredients. So to this bowl, I'm gonna add 1 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of flour. We need 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. Half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then I almost forgot the baking powder. We need 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder. Yes. I'm just gonna give this a mix, and then we will start incorporating this and our apple cider mixture into our eggs, butter, and vanilla, or eggs, butter, and brown sugar. Okay. Just gonna add half of our flour mixture in. Making a mess today. Then half of this apple cider mixture. All right, another half of our flour mixture. I'm gonna finish it off with the rest of our apple cider mixture. All right, it smells absolutely delicious. My oven is preheated to 325 degrees and I sprayed and lined this loaf pan with parchment paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in our batter. We are gonna bake this for 50 to 60 minutes or until a toothpick or knife comes out clean from the center, and then we are gonna let it cool. We're gonna make a quick glaze to go on top. So I'm gonna pop this in a 325-degree oven and see you back in about an hour. As soon as my cake came out of the oven, I went ahead and removed it from the pan with the parchment paper. It made it so easy. I highly suggest using parchment paper and lining your pans whenever you're making the banana bread or anything in a loaf pan. It really helps with getting things out of those pans. Then I went ahead and made the glaze. I just dumped what I had left in this bag, but it was about a cup of powdered sugar, and then I added in a splash of vanilla and a splash of milk. You want to be careful with the milk though. Just do a little tiny bit at a time until you get to the consistency that you want. If you add too much, you'll have to add more powdered sugar, and then you could end up with a gallon of glaze, and nobody wants that much glaze. So we're going to get the consistency that we want, just one that's pourable, and then we're going to pour it over our cooled cake. If you wanted to, instead of milk, you could use apple cider, and it would be like an apple cider glaze, but I just did a traditional powdered sugar glaze. Like I said, we just want to pour our glaze on top. So that is exactly what I did. I left it on the parchment paper just to catch any of the excess so that it didn't make a mess all over the pan that I was going to serve it on. And then once that glaze had hardened, I went ahead and removed it from the parchment paper and put it on the other pan. You could pop it in the fridge and that glaze will harden a lot faster. And then I sliced it up and served it, and that was that. This is really, really yummy. It's a different take on a loaf cake, and I hope that you try it. If you want the recipe, I will have it in the description box for you. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye guys.